Story 1. A few months ago, I joined a local photography club. It's just a group of hobbyists who meet up once a week, go on photo walks, and occasionally submit our shots for friendly themed contests. There's no money involved, just bragging rights and some fun. There's this one member, Tara, who has been in the group for years. She talks constantly about how she's basically semi-professional, name drops her expensive gear, and casually mentions how her photos have been recognized, though she never specifies by whom. She's good, no doubt, but she's also clearly used to being the one who gets all the compliments. I've only been doing photography seriously for about a year, but I've been putting in a lot of time learning, practicing, and editing. I use a basic mirrorless camera and edit on my phone. It's nothing fancy. Last month, the group theme was reflections. I submitted a photo I took at a local lake that featured a canoe, morning fog, and still water. It was a pretty peaceful shot. People really liked it, and it ended up being chosen as the top pick for the week. At first, Tara didn't say anything, but at the next meeting, I overheard her telling someone, "It's just beginner's luck. Some people get praised early on but fizzle out. Plus, it's not fair because he has an eye for it. I've worked on my skills." Later, she told me directly, "Honestly, you're just naturally good at this. Some of us actually had to learn the technique." I replied, "I've been practicing too, Tara. I didn't just pick up a camera and get lucky." She rolled her eyes and said, "Whatever. Just saying, I wish people valued the effort behind the shot, not just..." I didn't say much after that, but it really stuck with me. Somehow, she seemed upset that I did well without using her kind of expensive gear or having her self-declared level of experience. It felt like, in her mind, doing better than her meant I had somehow cheated the system. But I hadn't. I had simply put in the work in my own way with the tools I had and tried to improve. Just because I didn't follow the same path she did doesn't mean mine was any less valid. It's interesting how some people think they're being honest or real, when, in reality, they're just being entitled. It's as if recognition only counts when it goes to them, and if someone else receives praise, then the system must be flawed. What I've learned is this: effort takes different forms. You don't need the most expensive gear or the longest resume to be good at something. Sometimes, all it takes is passion, time, and the willingness to grow. And sometimes, the loudest critics are just frustrated that someone else's quiet dedication managed to shine. Story 2. So this happened a few months ago, and I'm still kind of blown away by the audacity. I'm 25 and have been in a wheelchair since I was 18 after a car accident that damaged my spinal cord. It took me years to accept this new reality, but I've made peace with it. One thing that really helped was getting my dream wheelchair, sleek, metallic purple, which is my absolute favorite color. It's not just mobility equipment to me, it's part of who I am now. My parents divorced when I was 16, and my dad has been single for years. He's always been supportive of me, especially after my accident. He drove me to every physical therapy appointment, helped modify the house, and never once made me feel like a burden. So when he started dating someone new 2 years ago, I was genuinely happy for him. His girlfriend seemed nice enough at first. She was polite when we met, asked appropriate questions about my situation, and seemed to make my dad happy. They moved pretty fast though, engaged after a year of dating and planning this big fancy wedding. I could tell she was the type who cared a lot about appearances and having everything perfect, but I figured that was just wedding stress. About 3 weeks before the wedding, I got a call from her. We didn't usually talk one-on-one, so I was surprised to see her name on my phone. She started off friendly, asking how I was doing and saying she wanted to chat about the wedding. I figured she needed help with something. Then she dropped the bomb. She asked if I could maybe rent a different wheelchair for the ceremony. Something black or more neutral instead of my bright purple one. I honestly thought I misheard her at first, so I asked her to repeat what she said. She explained that my wheelchair was too bright and flashy. Since I would be in a lot of the wedding photos, she didn't want it to be distracting from the ceremony. She said it was her special day and asked if I understood. I sat there for a moment, trying to process what she just said. This woman wanted me to change my wheelchair like it was a colorful dress that might clash with her wedding theme. I asked her to clarify. She wanted me to rent a different wheelchair because mine was too purple. She told me not to make it sound worse than it was. She was just thinking about the photos and the overall aesthetic. Black would be so much more elegant and wouldn't draw attention away from the ceremony. The more she talked, the angrier I got. This wasn't just about a color choice. She was asking me to literally dim a part of myself because it didn't fit her vision. I told her this wasn't like changing my shoes. This was my wheelchair, part of me, and I wasn't going to rent some random chair just because she thought mine was too bright. She insisted it was just for one day and asked if I could understand that she wanted everything to be perfect. I shot back asking perfect for who, because making your stepdaughter feel like she needs to hide herself didn't sound perfect to me. She said I was being dramatic and that it was just a color. That's when I really lost it. I told her if it was just a color, then why did it matter so much? I made it clear that I wasn't dimming myself for her aesthetic. My wheelchair stayed purple, or I didn't come at all. She got quiet for a second. Then her tone completely changed. She called me selfish and said she was trying to include me. But if I wanted to make her wedding day about myself, that was my choice. Then she hung up on me. Within an hour, my dad was calling me. He said his wife had called him crying and told him we had a fight about the wedding. I explained the whole conversation to him, trying to stay calm, but honestly still fuming. My dad was shocked when I told him she asked me to change my wheelchair because it was too flashy for her pictures. He made it very clear that I should come to the wedding exactly as I was, purple wheelchair and all, or not come at all. If I chose not to come because of this, he would completely understand. He said he was going to have a conversation with her about this because what she asked was completely inappropriate. I could hear him getting worked up, which honestly made me feel a lot better. At least I wasn't crazy for being upset. The wedding day arrived, and I'll admit I was nervous. I had no idea if she was going to cause a scene or if there would be weird tension all day. But I rolled up to that venue in my beautiful purple wheelchair, wearing a navy blue dress that actually looked amazing with a metallic purple. When I got inside, other guests started complimenting my wheelchair. One guest gushed about how much she loved it and how stunning the color was. Another asked where I got it and said it was like a work of art. My dad's aunt even said it looked like something out of a sci-fi movie in the best way possible. I was feeling pretty good about my decision. But then I saw her, my new stepmother, greeting guests near the entrance. When she spotted me, her smile literally froze on her face. She gave me this look like I had personally ruined her entire day just by existing in my purple wheelchair. Throughout the ceremony, I caught her shooting me dirty looks whenever she thought no one was looking. During the photo session, the photographer actually asked if I could move closer to the center for some shots because my wheelchair added such a cool visual element. I saw her jaw clench, but she couldn't say anything with everyone around. The reception was where things got interesting. I was sitting at a table with some family friends when she finally approached me. She said she hoped I was happy with myself. I told her I was having a lovely time and thanked her. She said I knew exactly what I was doing and that I wanted to upstage her on her wedding day. I asked if she meant by existing in my wheelchair, the same one I used every single day. She told me not to play dumb and said I could have easily gotten a black one, but I chose to make a statement instead. At this point, some people at nearby tables were starting to notice the conversation. I agreed that I did make a statement. The statement was that I wasn't going to hide who I was because it didn't fit her picture-perfect vision. She called me selfish and said this was supposed to be about her and my father, not about me and my need for attention. That's when my dad appeared out of nowhere. He asked what was going on, and she told him I was causing a scene. My dad asked if she meant by sitting at a table in my wheelchair, the same wheelchair I'd had for years. She insisted I was making everything about myself, just like she knew I would. My dad told her the only person making a scene was her, and told her to go enjoy her wedding and leave me alone. She walked off, and I didn't see her for the rest of the night, except during the formal dances, where she managed to paste on a fake smile for photos. My dad filed for an annulment the next week. He said he couldn't stay married to someone who would hit his child over something so petty. She tried to fight it and begged him to reconsider, but he was done. She had to move out of his house and find her own place. All the wedding gifts had to be returned. The whole family was talking about what happened. My dad apologized to me again and said he should have shut down her request about my wheelchair from the beginning. He felt terrible that it escalated to her hitting me. A few months later, she tried to contact me to apologize and say she was going through a stressful time. I didn't respond. There's no excuse for hitting someone, especially over a wheelchair color. My dad is doing much better now and says he learned his lesson about red flags. My purple wheelchair and I are doing just fine without her drama. Story 3. Hiya. So this happened exactly 5 hours ago from the time of this post. This was while we were on a hiking trip in my country. Usually the moral of the story comes at the end, but this is genuinely important, so I will say it in the beginning. Always follow instructions on a hike, especially when crossing difficult terrain. Background: hikes are usually divided into tiers based on a person's endurance, speed, and capabilities. However, this hike had one level due to a shortage in people and guides. So, my best friend and I were asked to assist given we are regulars and advanced hikers. Now we were walking quite a distance on a narrow path that forced everyone into a single line. The path has dirt and leaves with rocks scattered, and it was generally downwards, with scattered streams of water making certain sections of the trail muddy and slippery. Not a big issue for most of us, but we had two unruly new people with us. The entitled mother and her entitled kid. They complained about the mud, plants, insects, and just about everything. We were tolerant, but that changed pretty quick. We reached a rather flimsy spot where the dirt is very slippery. Slipping and going off would not kill you, but it'll be a painful trip to the OR, for sure. So me, my best friend, and the guide situated ourselves at the beginning, middle, and end of the drop, respectively, to help people step across, mostly allowing them to stand on our feet or footholds we made with our feet. Story. Cast: entitled mom, entitled kid, guide, best friend, girl hiker 1, girl hiker 2, and me. Okay? Girl hiker 1, stand on my right foot and then grab my best friend's hand. Best friend and guide give similar instructions, and we were in a position where entitled kid is next. I am supporting girl hiker 2. Girl hiker 1 is with the guide while guy hiker was helping them. Entitled kid: Mom, take a video of me doing this. I will sprint across. Me: No, you won't. You'll stand on my right foot and reach my best friend and take his hand. Entitled mom: You cannot tell my kid what to do. Go on, chief. Translated from my native language, it's a term that is similar to man of men, or that he is the strong man. Me: No man, if you do this and he slips, we will all be in danger, and I might not even be able to catch him. Get the hell back. Entitled kid runs a bit upwards and away from my reach, and within his third step, he loses his footing and slips. He's now between me and my best friend. While slipping, he grabs girl hiker 2's leg, pulling her down. My best friend grabs her arm, and I grab her second one. Me: You duck. Entitled mom: My baby, you bastards better not let my baby get hurt. Pull him up. Best friend: Which, he caused this. You swine, my baby is more important than all of you. Get him back to me. My friend is a devout Muslim, and the swine insult seemed targeted at that, as it's a completely uncommon insult. Me: Shut the hell up, you entitled donkey. Girl hiker 2: You okay? Sounds more insulting in my language. Girl hiker 2: I am okay, but he's holding on to my leg and kicking, and I cannot get a foothold. By now, the entire group is looking in horror, and the mother is screaming like a banshee, while the guide grabbed a rope and tossed it to the kid. Kid would not let go of the girl's leg, forcing me and my best friend to start losing our footholds. Best friend, you idiot, grab the rope or we will all go down. Entitled Mom, don't you dare scream at him. This is all your fault, you and this trail. Only a swine like you is an idiot. Me. Will you shut the hell up already, Girl Hiker 2? I need to grab you by the shirt, is that okay? Girl Hiker 2. Yes, just get me out of here. I reached down, grabbed her by the shirt and undershirt and pulled her up enough for my best friend to grab her bag and pull up with me. We felt the dirt beneath us giving way. The dirt was slipping into the kid's eyes as it was tumbling down onto him. He began to flail and scream, causing the mother to start screaming as well. Do not worry, baby. Hold on. You idiots are hurting him. Me. Can you put a lid in it? Got it. How dare a jerk like you and the swine next to you talk to me and my baby like that? The guide had moved himself a bit below my friend and I and had a strong foothold. The moment we pulled back up enough, he grabbed the entitled kid and pulled him off, allowing us to pull the Girl Hiker 2 out and back onto my best friend. I lost a lot of my footing in hand to dig my hands into the dirt, and Spider moved myself onto a different position. The outcome. The entitled mom ran to the kid to check on him while cursing at all of us, calling us idiots and irresponsible. She kept threatening to sue, calling my friend swine and other explicit words. Now what she forgot and did not account for is that both my and my best friend's mom are with us, and they saw all this go down. Best friend's sister even recorded everything. Surprise cast, Mom and best friend's mom. Mom, our kid saved your spoiled brat's life, so one more word out of you and it would. Best friend's mom shoves entitled mom into a tree trunk. Best friend's mom, how dare you call my kid swine after he saved your kid's life? You racist entitled witch, I have half a mind to throw you off of this ledge. Pieces of crap like you are what the problem in this country. Say one more word about my kid, I dare you. Entitled mom and entitled kid visibly shrank as the entire group gathered around them yelling and blaming her and her kid for what they did. My best friend and I got to cleaning our boots and clothing from the dirt that slipped in. We brushed it off and continued the trail. Hiker Girl 2 stuck around my best friend. They joked, and he got her number as well. The entitled mother and kid were noticeably silent, and the guide issued them a ban from our group and other groups we usually collaborate with. Also, did I mention the entitled kid was 29? My best friend and I are 22 and 23, respectively. Story 4. Note: this happened when I was 18. I'm a girl, 5 foot tall, and, since age 16, have always carried a pocket knife with a sort of trigger just for my peace of mind. Also, I've got a huge thing about physical contact and do not like even family friends initiating any sort of hug, pat on the back, etc., without asking. I was in Target for the first time and I was by myself, sort of just checking it out because we'd always been too thrifty to go to Target growing up. I was minding my own business, strolling the aisles with my basket of slightly overpriced herbal tea. I end up in this cool snack section where they had seaweed packets and tossed 2 into my basket when I realized there was a man, mid-30s, early 40s, that I've seen in the same aisles as me quite a few times. No big deal, it's just a coincidence, right? I peruse a couple more sections in the store and eventually end up passing the baby kids section and see the same middle-aged guy sort of hanging back from me, but he's following me with more intent at this point. Getting a little nervous, but it's not like anything is going to happen to me in Target. What's he going to do? Kidnap me in the middle of a Target with hundreds of people in it? I keep going and eventually, I see the kitchenware section. I stop and look up at the signs to see where exactly I want to look around. Ah, there. I take a step forward and, just as I do, the same man from earlier grabs me by my shirt collar and says, "Excuse me," and without hesitation, I grab my side, deploy my knife, point it at him, and yell back, "What the hell do you think you're doing?" We're right outside an aisle, and there are people around who saw him grab me. He looks shocked, jaw slacked and everything. I repeat to him again, just as loud and just as expletive-filled. Who the hell do you think you are? Why are you following me? Why did you grab me? He snaps out of it a bit and says, Are employees even allowed to carry knives? What the hell are you doing? Where's your supervisor? Now, it's my turn to look dumbfounded. I said, I'm not an employee, and even if I was, do you really just grab people wherever you go? Especially younger women? At this point, we've got a small crowd, and I feel safe enough to put my knife back in my pocket. He spits back. Well, if you had been paying any attention, you'd know that I've been around you this whole time trying to get your attention. But you just keep walking off from me. Aren't you supposed to help people in the store? Did you hear a word I said? I don't work here. He took a step forward to look down at me and started on about, all you had to do was say so then. Instead, you pull a knife on me like some psycho. He then points out that I'm wearing a red shirt. I'm floored at this. I'm wearing a dark red and plaid long-sleeve harness crop top and black high-waisted jeans. What Target employee do you see wearing a plaid crop top? Finally, someone steps in to help. A tall, burly guy who looked like Duck Dynasty met Sons of Anarchy gets in between us and pushes the guy back and tells him that there's no way to speak to anyone and says, I saw the whole thing. You grabbed her by her collar. She has every right to be defensive. At this, Creep backed off and Ducks of Anarchy, my hero, tells him to EFF off. He fires off one last, crazy brat, but walks off towards the back of the store. I sincerely thanked Mr. Hero as I was truly grateful. Being a smaller person, even with a knife, you don't feel all that threatening. I took my stuff straight to the checkout and left. Never in my life have I thought about grabbing a stranger, employee of a store or otherwise, to get their attention. I wouldn't even tap on their shoulder. If you just say, excuse me, or, hey, you're likely to get the attention of everyone in the immediate area. Maybe I was just raised differently, but I feel like not grabbing strangers is a pretty obvious social no-no. Another note. Yes, I know it's a bit paranoid to carry a knife everywhere, especially into a Target of all places. I also know I could have handled this very public situation without taking my knife out. But when fear kicks in, instinct takes over. I wouldn't say I regret how I handled myself, but that's just evidently psycho, crazy me. Story 5. My little sister is the most entitled person I know. She's 20 years old and relies so much on family, it's ridiculous. They pay for her groceries, she likes to eat very expensive healthy food. They let her use one of their cars because she hasn't gotten her own. They take care of her dog for her food, walks, vet, etc. They pay for absolutely everything. She has no actual bills because they cover them all. She desperately needs to move out, but I don't think she'd make it. And yes, 20 is young, but she's acting like an immature 14-year-old and she needs a rude wake-up call. So this girl is insisting that she gets a special dress to wear as my maid of honor, and not just a different color or a slightly different dress from the other bridesmaids, but she wants to be in a dress as fancy as mine, because it's her big day. And sure, she says that jokingly, but you can tell that there is a part of her that thinks that. With most people I wouldn't be that annoyed, but she also mooches off of our parents and demands they buy her absolutely everything. She wants to go to a Bible school in another country and wants my parents to pay for it. Thing is, she already did a Bible school, she just didn't finish because of drama and unhealthy relationships. They paid for that one already. She refuses to get a normal job. She currently works for my parents, but isn't super reliable or consistent. The only time she actually works hard is when she is volunteering doing mission work. She's otherwise super lazy. She constantly complains about money and will, jokingly, ask me for money. She then gets mad when I refuse, but I'm sorry, I work hard for my money and I have real life expenses. This Christmas, I am not getting presents for anyone. My family is large and quite frankly, I can't afford it. I have a wedding and life to save up for. Normally, I love giving big gift packages, usually worth about $200, so I'm definitely not doing that for a while to save money. Well, my sister is mad because she got one last year and one for her birthday, and she feels entitled to another one this year. She's acting like an actual child about it. I get being disappointed, but you don't have the right to be mad that someone can't afford to get you something. She has asked my partner for money for a belly button piercing, while she's trying to save up for a trip. A trip that she was expecting other people to help with, while she was just staying at home, chillin' all day. She got annoyed at him when he said no. She is currently trying to save up for a trip and keeps asking me to buy her clothes because she needs to be cute. She will often act like she's joking about asking for stuff, but everyone knows she's not actually joking. Makes me angry that my parents put up with it all and give in to her, just because they don't want the drama. Basically, she acts like she has the right to everyone else's money, but she won't work to get her own. She's lazy and wants to be the center of attention always, even on my own wedding day. Edit. I told my sister that she wears the dress I chose or is out. She just likes to throw fits. I also told her she could wear a wedding dress, but only if I chose it, and then showed her the ugliest dress I could find. She was not amused. My partner and I are picking our battles, and we have tried to work this out to have the least amount of drama, because any way we do this will cause some issues. I do want her as my maid of honor, I just don't want the drama that comes along with it. Honestly, she isn't brave enough to be a witch in front of 100 people. She just wants attention and wants to feel special, as if being maid of honor isn't special enough. There is also a lot more stuff that she does, but it's less entitled stuff and just ridiculousness. She gets away with a lot of crap because she's the family favorite, and she's hella attractive. Story 6. Back in the early 90s, my friend, I'll call him Lou, because that's his name, was selling his RX-7 via an ad in the old print Auto Trader. It came out every Thursday, so that first weekend was critical for sales. The very first guy that came to see it on Saturday said he wanted to buy after driving it. Of course, he had to finance, so they couldn't finish the sale during the weekend. Lou was worried about losing all the bites from the new ad, so he asked for a deposit of $500. The guy wrote a check. Lou told the rest of the callers that weekend that it was sold and, unfortunately, didn't ask for their numbers in case it fell through. This story predates caller ID availability in my area by a couple years, so those leads were gone. As you surely expect by now, the guy flakes on Monday and Lou deposits the check. Payment stopped. Big surprise. Sitting around my apartment, we schemed revenge, but all we had to go on was the check. Lucky for karma, there was a phone number printed on it. Our first idea was to write a little program to dial his number repeatedly from my modem, but that would be easily stopped and probably get us in direct trouble. Then Lou got a page from his work. This was back in the one-way pager days. You call the pager's dedicated phone number, it sounds a tone, then you punch digits for the number you want to be sent to the pager. The person with a pager receives the number you entered and, presumably, calls it. Everyone with a pager made sure that people who needed to get a hold of them had the number for their pager. You'd see pager numbers in print and TV ads all the time for various services. Boom. Angelic choir sings, heavenly light goes off. Lou's pager number and my pager number had the same prefix middle 3 digits. What if we randomly dial numbers with that prefix and page them all to this guy's number? So we order a pizza, open some beers, and start looking through the yellow pages at locksmiths and tow truck services to find more pager prefixes. We wind up with a dozen or so. After that, it's half an hour of coding in the old Borland C++. I put together a program that would cycle through our list of known prefixes and add a random final 4 digits to get a random pager. It calls the pager's number, pauses, then dials this jerk's number and throws a 911 suffix on there for good measure, which is something people with pagers understood to indicate an emergency of some kind. The whole thing was just generating a string like at 602xxi jerks number 911 hash, where XXX is the pager prefix and EI is random. Commas make pauses, since you need to connect to the paging service before you can enter the message. Make string, send to modem, wait for, no carrier, hang up, repeat. we start eating the pizza and let it fly. I was very picky about my devices, so my modem was a US Robotics Courier. You could set an US register to control how long it would sound each tone when dialing. Uber nerds like myself would keep tinkering with that to get it as fast as possible while still being recognized by the phone service. It was very fast. I swag it could run through 4 pages per minute, so this guy would get 240 culture. We just watched it run and laughed really hard. We realized pretty early on that we didn't really know if it was working, so we wandered down to the 7-Eleven and called him from a payphone, just in case he could somehow trace it or the popo were on the case and watching. A man answered and I said, "Hello, I got a page at this number." I heard an audible sigh and then he just hung up. Gold. We ended up running it for a few hours, then let it go quiet for a few days. Then we scheduled it to start dialing in the middle of the night, every few days, plus we'd fire it up by hand randomly whenever we had a party. We checked again from the 7-Eleven after a week, and it went to an answering machine, which did the rapid tone at the end of the greeting to indicate the tape was full. We reasoned that the line was still ringing, anyway, so we kept at it for another month or so. Eventually, we got the disconnected warning when we made one of our regular checkups. I'm sure he just changed the number. I like to think about that guy answering the phone after a few days of silence when we started it up. I can vividly imagine his response at the "Did someone page me to this number?" as he slams the phone down and then it rings again a few seconds later. Or, of course, coming home from work and having an answering machine full of random people asking about being paged. And, yeah, we annoyed several thousand people into calling this guy by the end. But each of those people was only put out for a single call. A cost, yes, but a necessary one for justice.